My name's Tom Meitzel. I'm a real estate broker, investor, and coach. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how much new investors should be charging for rent. When you first get your first rental properties, usually there's a lot of confusion unless you have tenants already, how much you should actually be charging. Even if you do have tenants, you want to go through this exercise to make sure that you're not undercharging. One of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to need to do some research to determine where the market really is. When you're looking to do some research, where we usually start is we usually start on Craigslist. Nowadays, most properties are advertised on Craigslist. And you want to be looking at the same class of property that you have. If you have a 4-unit apartment building, you want to be looking at 4-unit apartment buildings. If they're all 2-bedroom, 1-bath, that's what you want to be looking at and doing a direct comparison. If you're renting out single-family homes, you want to be looking at single-family homes, duplexes or twindos, the same thing. Because each of those will have a different price point depending on the features, depending on where it's located. But Craigslist is a good starting place. Some of the other places you want to look is you also want to look in some of the rental magazines. Now, rental magazines are pretty much a dying industry. Most people are going online. However, you can still find them typically in the grocery stores, although some real estate brokerages will have them. But normally grocery stores, if they are available, will have them where you enter the grocery store, and you can check that as well. That'll give you a feel for what that market's starting to do. You also want to check newspapers. Now, just like rental magazines, newspapers as far as advertising for real estate and rentals is becoming and it's an expensive medium and it's not used very regularly anymore. So don't just rely on that. You can also check penny savers and things of that nature. Something you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do some site visits. You have to see how you compare to your competition. Where are they price-wise versus what you're thinking? Are they higher than you? Are they lower than you? Compare amenities. Typically when we do a site visit, we don't disclose that we're just researching the market, but we try to not make it inconvenient for the people when we do that. We try to go in at a time when they're showing it to other people. Another place you can look is you can go on the HUD site. That's Housing and Urban Development. In there, they've got fair market value rents for everything from a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. Now, the HUD rents can actually run a little higher or lower depending on the market that you're in. But HUD gives you a pretty good feel. If you are renting to Section 8 tenants, which are government vouchers, in many cases, the voucher systems will follow the HUD guidelines. Some other things to consider when you're renting is you want to take good care of your good tenants. Once you have somebody in there, and you're looking at the end of the year, you're going to renew the lease, one of the things I do is I decide how much trouble this tenant has been. Have they paid their rent on time? Have they called for a lot of different maintenance items? Are they taking care of the small things themselves? That is a nice tenant to have. If the tenant's actually taking care of things, isn't bothering you, is taking good care of the property when you drive by, everything looks good, then what you want to do is you want to try to minimize your rent increases. Because good tenants are like gold. They will pay month in, month out. We've had people say 15, 17 years, sometimes even longer. Now what I also do is I look if a tenant is paid on time, but they're a little more difficult, a little more challenging. We have to go ahead and provide a lot of maintenance, a lot of hand-holding. Then we will minimize the rent increase, but we're going to charge them more than a person who basically needs very little. So you've got, and I calculated as 3 different levels. You've got the no hassle tenants, you got the medium hassle tenants, and you got the high hassle tenants. So the low hassle tenants, you don't raise the rent that much, you've got to cover your cost increases and things, and if the market is going up rapidly and there is room to raise, well, we're not foolish, we're going to also raise it. But you get your medium tenants, you raise them a little more, and then your problem tenants, what we do is if their problem tenants are not paying on time, the rent's coming in late, they call for maintenance quite a bit, things like that. At that point then, we really don't care if they stay or if they go. But if they stay, we want to be compensated for the additional trouble that they're providing us. So we give them a pretty good rent increase. That way, if they do stay, we're actually being compensated for the additional difficulty. Now, if you're going to position your property for sale as an investor, you want to make sure that you maximize the rents because the property is going to be sold generally based on how much rent it's bringing in. If you've had good tenants and you haven't raised the rent much over the years, that's going to really undermine you when it comes time to go ahead and sell. So if you're going to sell, make sure you get the prices raised up long before you go ahead and list. That way they can see the cash flow coming in. I like to typically see at least 1 year, so I'll typically raise it at least a year in advance to sale. That way I've got 1 year of solid record showing the additional income, which they can then use with the bank for the loan. So keep in mind, do your research, take good care of your tenants, charge your good tenants, minimal increases, charge your poorer tenants larger increases, and maximize the profit potential. Keep in mind that even with your good tenants, you do need to raise your rent enough to cover your costs, and if the market rent has gone up 20%, you'd be foolish not to raise it 15% or so, even on your good tenants, because at that point, they don't have many options to go elsewhere. If you have any other questions, you can reach us at MadisonHomesales.com. That's our blog. There's also a lot of videos and other training information there. You can reach us at HomeWithTom.com and HouseFlipGuru.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks and have a great day.